ska nu visa det första av 6 program i den engelska serien Jag Kan Inte Se. Programmen visar förhållanden i England, men mycket är gemensamt med vårt eget land, inte minst våra attityder gentemot de synskadade. Dagens program, Röra men inte se, handlar om Daniel som är 3 år och blind från födseln.
The white cane, symbol of blindness. But what do we know about the person behind that image? What job can he do? What's his life like? What sort of a childhood did he have? Each year, 70 children are born without sight in this country. Daniel was one of the unlucky ones. He is totally blind.
What are you doing? What are you playing with the tap again? Oh, Daniel. Oh, for goodness sake, you're soaking yourself and everything else, aren't you?
As Daniel grows up, he'll be affected not only by his blindness, but by the way he's treated by the rest of society. It's important that we try to understand him and those like him who simply cannot see.
Good. Another handle, just over there. Feel? Go on, feel. Feel. Come on, feel for it. And the other side. There. Lift your legs then.
Like any 3-year-old, Daniel loves playing on the slide.
Are you ready? Are you steady?
Our filming began in June, 6 months earlier, when Daniel's reaction had been entirely different. With help from his mother Jane, he's learning to overcome his fear of a world he cannot see. When he was born, he seemed to be quite normal.
The initial congratulations on Daniel's birth came within the first month. And then everything was wonderful. Everyone flocked around and said, oh, how wonderful, how lovely. Isn't he super and hasn't he got lovely big blue eyes? But since people have become aware that there's something wrong with his eyes and that he can't see, they've stopped saying it. All right. What is silly sausage? Yeah. But over the first few weeks, up until about the first 6 weeks, there was a growing feeling that something wasn't right. He wasn't doing what I thought he ought to be doing. He should be following a moving object within his range of vision, and Daniel wasn't doing that. He didn't look at things. So I thought something was amiss. It did occur to me that Daniel might be mentally handicapped, that this failure to respond wasn't due to a problem with his eyes, but with his brain. So I asked the GP this, and he said that he thought that Daniel wouldn't be a cabbage.
Jane's experience of those who are supposed to help was not encouraging. Hardly anyone knew anything about blindness, and Daniel was 6 months old before it was admitted that he might be blind. Later, it was confirmed that he had a condition called optic hyperplasia. His optic nerve had failed to develop.
That better?
Jane had been married at 19 to a student at Manchester University. The realization that Daniel was handicapped began to put the marriage under great strain.
I think having Daniel and finding out that he was handicapped did have a very dramatic effect on my relationship with Malcolm. Things changed totally, and I don't doubt that I changed totally as well, because initially we did consider adoption for Daniel because it was a quite appalling prospect. I was only 20, I was barely 20 when Daniel was born, and I was faced with the insurmountable task of bringing Daniel up. And the feeling between us was that we could not do it. We couldn't give Daniel what he would need. I did come to feel later on that I couldn't give Daniel up because I would feel so terribly guilty. So eventually I came to the decision that I would have to look after Daniel by myself because Malcolm really didn't feel able to do it. And at one stage, Malcolm did say that this wasn't the baby he wanted, and this wasn't the son he wanted, and talked a bit about playing football and things, which was fairly difficult for me to understand. Or maybe that sounds very hard on Malcolm, but I really don't think it's his fault. You can't really make any judgments from people in that sort of situation because it is so awful.
They separated and Jane moved to London. She decided to train for a job that would give her independence and is now doing a course in chiropody. Daniel goes to a local authority day nursery.
When we arrive at school, Daniel's nursery school, he is normally taken off the bicycle, and from there I do expect him to make his own way up to his classroom because he needs to find his own way around. He needs to be able to know where he is, where he's going, how to get there. He doesn't do anything very quickly. For example, with the door, he always, every single day I take him in, he always goes around the shut door first and eventually, after a lot of coaxing, comes over to the other door. It's part of his routine. I'm not sure whether he does it to torment me, but every day we spend at least 3 minutes, perhaps 5, just getting through the door. No, it's this way. Come on, listen, listen. You come inside and shut this door. Come on. Come on, come and try this. There, that one. Will you shut it? Yes, you shut it. Go on, that's right. It's a little bit stiff, isn't it? That's right. Go on, you shut it. Don't lose the wall. What's round that corner? Oops. You go up the steps.
Handlebar.
Yes, you feel for the handlebar. If you go up a step, you'll be able to feel for the handlebar. I do feel guilty about having a handicapped child. I think every parent does. When I say that to people, which I don't very often do, because they all seem to uniformly say, "Oh, don't be silly, dear," which is really quite dreadful because I'm telling them what I think and what I feel, and it's quite a strong emotion. I do feel terribly guilty because I produced Daniel and his eyes don't work. And eyes and sight are very important to the way we live. It's quite a central sense, one of the most important perhaps. And I made Daniel and I didn't make him properly, basically. That's a silly way of putting it, but that's what it feels like. Soon after I arrived in London, I was put in touch with lots of professionals, people who are concerned with the blind, social workers, doctors who are going to look after different aspects of Daniel's care. One of which was Dr. Sue Jazeel, who has looked after Daniel since we first arrived and has been a tremendous help.
How are you? Daniel's got bangles, that's right, yeah. Now let's put that back in the box. Put that back in the box. Now you find the orange, Daniel.
Then you can eat the orange.
You find the half orange. Where is it?
No.
No, that's not the orange.
Let's give that to Gemma, shall we? We'll give that to Gemma. There you are.
Now you find the orange, Daniel.
Find the orange.
No! Everything but the orange. You little monkey. Go on, put it back. You find the orange now, Daniel.
Where is it?
Where's the orange? This is typical of his being
Emotionally and in play, he's very far behind children of the same age. He doesn't do the same sort of things because he hasn't had the same sort of experience. Other children learn simply by sitting down and watching what people do around them, looking at things and watching how they work. Daniel doesn't have that experience. He can't imitate what he sees done. He can only imitate by being shown time and time again, because he can't take things in context. He doesn't have the real world to refer back to in the same way as a sighted child does.
Phyllis. Glug, glug, glug. What does the water do? Glug, 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 glug.
What do you want? You want something to dance to? Yes? Well, I can't find the beat tape. I just don't know where it is. Should we try the other side of this record? This is the beat, but it's not the tape that you mean.
Don't sing.
Do you like that? Oh, Daniel, you are a moaning ninny. Why don't you just dance to this one? Come on. Oh, dear. If you're going to be cross, then we won't have any music at all. This is a good record. Don't you like it? You can dance to this one. Come on. Daniel! Look, if you're going to be so cross, we really won't have any music at all. I do think that this behaviour is very difficult, tantrum-type behaviour. It's a stumbling block. It's just preventing him from learning, from finding out, from developing. So why are you so cross? Come on. Right. No more. No. No. Sorry. You were so... Everyone's terribly keen on telling me what to do and how to make him interested in the environment and what tools to use, what toys to use to get him to do all the very important things that will help his development. It was a different record from the one you normally listen to. The real stumbling block is I will get all these things and I will go through these play sequences with him and try and make it fun. And Daniel will just get crosser and crosser, which is very frustrating when I'm trying to do something for him. And like any 2-year-old, he really doesn't want to know. I want to find something else to do. I'm doing your buttons. Where are your buttons? Do you want to have a ride on Mummy? Do you? Come on then. Hang on. Are you ready? Are you ready? Steady. Steady. Go. Another go. Are you ready? Hold tight, hold tight. Are you ready? Are you steady? Go! Oh, no more, I'm too tired. No, why don't you do something different from listening to the record all the time? In the trolley, yes. Trolley. When do you say it properly? Trolley. Ploppily. Oh, listen. There's a bus. You hear the bus? Bus. We go in the bus sometimes, don't we? Which do you like better, going in buses or cars? Or a tractor? Do you like tractors? Do you? I continually talk to Daniel. It's something that I've almost trained myself to do since he was a baby, because I was the link between Daniel and the outside world and the real world. And the same thing happens now in many ways, because I can make a bridge between Daniel and what is really happening. I can explain noises and events and objects that he can come into contact to, that he does experience, and give him some understanding, give these things some meanings. The funny thing, well, you don't sit on this is the turnstile. You have to go through. Daniel, this is you don't sit on this. We'll go and find the trolley in a minute. Come on. When he was a little baby, it was quite important that I talked to him continually. When he was in my arms, when I was touching him, then I could put him down, and because I was still continually talking, he would know that I existed even though he wasn't touching me. And that was very important for him. Would you help Mummy and hold these things? Look, this is the bit with all the tins in. Look, Mummy's picking up all the tins in this bit. You throw that over your shoulder. Ready? Steady. Whee! Boom. Make a big clatter bang. It's very important to try and extend Daniel's world, and it has to be done actively, because passively blind children tend not to explore. They tend not to be very outgoing. They need to be drawn out. They need to be shown things. And it's really very hard work to keep drawing him out continually, to keep encouraging, to keep showing him things. Come on, you can have one biscuit now, but you must promise not to be such a cross patch. I'm trying to get some shopping, and all you do is shout and shout, isn't it? It's not very good. Shouldn't really eat these things before we pay for them, but never mind. Can you take one out? Just one. What you say? Say thank you. Come on, please say thank you.
Thank you.
Good boy.
Stab a fork. You stab a fork.
You stab the chips with your fork. Look, you've got to get the prongs and stab it into a chip, like that.
Stab it in the tip.
Yes, stab it. I think it's very important for Daniel to learn acceptable table manners from a social point of view, because although it is reasonably acceptable for a child of 3 perhaps to still use a spoon, it's very different for a child of 8 to use a spoon to eat his lunch, so that we must teach Daniel as we would teach any other child. The sausage are on that side of the plate and the chips are on the other, okay?
What's that? What's that, Daniel? What is it? That's a spoon, that's right.
3 months later, in September, Dr. Jazeel gave Daniel a series of tests to monitor his progress. They're based on standard child assessment techniques, which have been adapted to take blindness into account.
What is it? A cup, that's right. What do you use a cup for?
This is the way.
What?
That's the song we sing. This is the way we drink our tea, usually.
Dr. Jazeel works with a team of expert advisors drawn from the local health authority, the social services and the education authority. They watch his progress and offer advice on what to do next.
Give me the one we drink out of, Daniel. Here's my hand. Can you give me the one we drink out of? Give me the one we drink out of. Come on, Daniel. Give me the one we drink out of. I know you've got spit on my hand now.
Got your shakers. Yes, got your shakers.
In the nursery, the daycare staff put the recommendations into practice.
What's inside?
Right.
Is it rice, Daniel?
No.
Let me see. No, it's like rice. Those are lentils.
Lentils.
Careful it doesn't come out, Dan, if you turn it upside down.
The main emphasis at the moment is on developing language and other senses to compensate for his lack of vision.
Sweet.
Sweet. But what is it, Daniel?
Sugar.
Good boy. Put the top back on.
Yes, you take all the men out.
By December, Daniel's improvement was even more noticeable.
I was watching them doing their cooking. It was quite pleasing to see him actually stirring, because the idea of stirring something in a bowl and knowing that the action of stirring is actually mixing the ingredients together when you can't see them being mixed is quite a difficult one to accept, and he was doing this, and that was really nice to see. And also obviously the fact that Chris was making him actually touch the flour and feel what the flour felt like before it was put into the bowl helps him along. And 6 months ago he couldn't do that. He couldn't stir.
Keep your hands flat. Roll it very gently, don't press it. There.
Obviously there are still weaknesses, and it's a constant process of looking at what is weak and trying to improve on it.
No, Daniel, don't eat it yet. They're not ready to eat.
No.
No, put it back on the tray, please.
Well, we're going to play a special game where Mummy blows the whistle. It's called Hunt the Mummy, right? It's just like hide and seek, except Mummy goes away and you've got to find Mummy, okay? You've got to find me and I will blow the whistle and you listen to where the whistle is coming from and you come and find me, okay? Are you ready? Steady, I'm going. On your nose, squash it up with on your tongue, and on your cheek, on your cheek. Ugh. Doesn't that look funny? You held that. A lot of people ask me, what do I think Daniel's perception of the world is? What sort of imagination Daniel has when he's never seen? And I really don't know the answers to that question, but all I do think is that he has as much imagination and as clear a perception of things as a sighted child has, but it has different qualities, and I think you have to respect a blind person's perceptions. They're based on his experience and what those experiences have meant to him. All of your head. There you go. All of your head. Everything that he comes across now is almost contrived because I have to show him everything. He doesn't select his information, his interests for himself. I hope that this will change as he gets older, that he will be able to go out to explore for himself a lot more. Can you do it to Mummy? You pick some up and throw them over Mummy. Take them up and all over the head. Do it again then. You want a hug? Off we go. Got to get a penny.
Scallywag.
No, we'll play Scallywag afterwards. Mummy's pushing this little door up and then we can get the penny out. There's the penny. Got it? You hold it. Okay, now then. Find the slot to put it in. Can you find the slot somehow? With one hand, that's right, okay, and then pop the penny in with the other hand. That's right. Shall I show you how to do it? If you just use 2 fingers, kind of like that. Finished. Is that funny? If there was anything that I could tell people about Daniel, all children like Daniel, it would be just that he's an ordinary little boy who can't see. Like raspberries and me, disgusting creature. Horrible.
Is this a game?